Let's have a little chat on the couch about beliefs and identity. And specifically, I want to open up about my story. I'm a California girl who grew up on the beautiful Central Coast in Pismo Beach and Arroyo Grande. And then I went to UCLA and I studied abroad with 5 different travel study programs. Well, one of them was in Washington, D.C., but it felt like a different country. While I was there, I hopped around to different countries. I did semester at sea where we circumnavigated the globe and went to 10 different countries for 5 days each. And then I lived in Martinique in the Caribbean, the French Caribbean, and I was able to country hop in the Caribbean. Then I did my cross-continent MBA at Duke, and we went to a new country every 3 months to do a residency. And we were studying with a global cohort of peers from all over the world. I've traveled with my family. I've traveled throughout the US with work. And now, in 2023, in August, I will have lived in Austin, Texas for 10 years. I never imagined myself living in Texas for 10 years, but it's been amazing. I love Austin. So how did all of this travel and living abroad and living in Texas for 10 years transform me? How did it impact me? These are the questions I'm pondering and noodling on right now. And I wanted to share. So if we take it back to the roots, high school Justine Bailey. I was hyper liberal. I was reading books about the media in cahoots with the Bush administration and, standing up the war in Iraq and all of that, right? I was fired up. And then I went to college in UCLA. I studied political science. I campaigned for Obama in 2008. I was taking trips to Nevada because it was a swing state, and knocking on doors and calling people that had been called at dinner for the 7th time who did not want to hear from us, right? Oh, fun times. I feel like in that phase of my life, I was more like your stereotypical liberal. Then all of this travel, and everywhere we went in the world on semester at sea, that was the first study abroad program I did. It was the reason I wanted to go to college, was because I came across a pamphlet when I was in middle school about semester at sea, and I was like, I want to do this. I want to go to college so I can do semester at sea. And everywhere we went, all around the world, especially in Southeast Asia, East Asia, Southeast Asia, there's this saying, same, but different. They have it on the shirts and stuff like that tourists can buy because people say it a lot. And my dad had always said that growing up, and I never really understood what it meant until I started going rapidly from country to country, and we were studying different cultures from all these different lenses. We get the history, the political science, oceanography when we went to Japan. We'd get sociology, all the different lenses studying one culture, which was so fascinating. And then when we were on the ground, 20% of our grade was based on field work. So were homework assignments where we had to actually go interact with locals. And it gave us an excuse to connect with people. It gave us like an opener, a way to ask people. So I had a Hollywood in the World class. It was a film class, and I had to write a paper about the experience of going to the movies in different countries. And so that was part of my assignment. And for that, I also had to interview like movie theater owners and things like that. So, it was just such a cool experience. And the more that I connected with people in these different cultures, the more that I understood same, but different. I was like, oh, people everywhere are the same. Like, we have the same desires for our lives. We all want to be happy. We want to laugh. We want to love. We want to connect with people, right? And we have different ways of doing that. And that belief started seeping out into other areas of my life. It started seeping out into the way that I viewed the political system. People all around the world, one-on-one, are generally awesome, so kind, so helpful, so hospitable. It's when people get into groups with labels and they start othering that's where the breakdown occurs. People are also terrible to each other all over the world, right? I'm not denying that. I'm not only picking the flowers and the roses, right? Like, I saw for the first time abject poverty. I don't even know what to say about that because it was just so mind-blowing to me, having grown up relatively sheltered in a beautiful paradise, so privileged to have grown up here. And to see that, it was like, I got back to UCLA and I was like, I'm going to major in international development studies. Like, I'm going to solve poverty, right? 20 years old. I'm going to end poverty. And the older I get and the more that I learn and the more that I study problems and their origins and their solutions potentially, the more I realized things are so complex and people are so complex. I think the reason people are so kind and so terrible to each other is because we all have that within ourselves, right? Like, think of your own self-talk. Sometimes it's beautiful and you build yourself up and you're like, yeah, I'm awesome. And other times it's insecurities, it's shadow stuff. It's not great, doesn't feel good. We all have that within us. That's part of the human experience. So then I moved to Austin, Texas, and I become friends with all different kinds of people from all different political backgrounds. Through dance, I've met people, especially through country dancing, I've met a lot of conservatives. I've met through actually like the spiritual community in Austin, I've met a lot of libertarians. And through the improv community, I've met a lot of liberals. And these are people that I love and adore. At my wedding, people don't know this, but we actually created the seating arrangement. We had people seated in 2 concentric circles because, like, do things your own way. And we actually seated people based on their vaccine beliefs. Like, we had half that were like maskers and half anti-maskers. And we did it outside, and the mask mandate had just been lifted the week before, so nobody had to wear masks anyway. But we basically like seated people around the circle based on their political beliefs. That's how diverse our friend group is, and the diversity of thought that I'm exposed to on a regular basis. And I love that. I cultivate that on purpose. I am guided by a value of openness. To me, openness means 3 things. It means open-mindedness, being open to other ideas, to trying on other beliefs. I try on beliefs like clothes. Oh, what would it feel like to believe that? How does this look? How does this feel? Does this fit me? Maybe it serves me now. Maybe I want to put a different belief on later. Because my identity is not my beliefs. My identity is who I am inside my soul. That's my identity. So that allows me to have the flexibility to change my beliefs and adapt them over time. It's not so rigid. People just grip onto their beliefs so tightly because they confuse their beliefs with their identity. You don't have to. You can let it go. My second meaning of openness is openheartedness. That's where empathy and compassion come into play. Even back in high school, I used to always say, I believe that you would have compassion for anyone, even a murderer, if you really understood their story, their whole story of their life and what brought them to this point, what was going on in their inner world that brought them to commit murder. You would have compassion for that person if you really understood. And I think that that's true of everyone. I think if we understand each other's stories, we can understand each other and we can open our hearts to each other. And so when I have conversations with people now, and even as I was traveling throughout the world, it became less about me and what I believe, right? And it was more about like leaning in to really actively listen and understand other people and how they think. Maybe because I was in such different cultures, it was like, it wasn't about convincing anyone that I was right? It was about being present and really, really trying to immerse myself in another person's world. I know from studying psychology that debates only drive people further apart, right? They only polarize people more. Have you ever been at your best when locked in a debate with a political adversary? Like, no, that's not when we're at our best as human beings. I know from improv that when you want to connect with someone, you come over onto their side. You physically, body language wise, you come over and you sit on the same side of the table as them, and you're with them. You take the journey with them. And the third component of openness to me is vulnerability and authenticity, showing people who you actually really are. I think people could look at the topics on my YouTube channel recently and just label me as a hyper flaming liberal stereotype. But that's not me. That's not fully who I am. Are a lot of my beliefs very progressive currently? Yes, they are. But I don't feel like I fit into that category because I don't resonate with actually a lot of the closed-mindedness that comes with that. There are a lot of hyper liberals and hyper anything, right? If you're on the extreme end of anything, where you become actually closed off to other ideas and other people that have differing opinions and ideas. You can't even hear it, right? And that goes so against my true values, right? I'm more values guided than I am guided by my beliefs. So for instance, right now with Jade being in this phase of life where they're gender surfing. Gender surfing is the term that they use in elementary school to refer to kids who are trying out different gender identities and different pronouns and things like that. The way I see it is I'm going to support my kid. If they want to be called she, they, okay, she, they. If they want to be called they, them, okay, they, them. If they, whatever it is that if they want to cut off all their hair, which they want to do, okay, try it out, learn from it, try it on. You're at an age where you can see what that feels like and you will explore and you will get feedback from it and you will learn. And I mean, we all do that throughout our lives, right? And I'm sharing online what I'm learning about it, right? Because I love this form of self-expression and I love to share what I'm learning. What I'm not doing is I'm not shoulding, and I'm not ever gonna try and be evangelical about it. And I see it as a great opportunity with Jade to teach them about openness and compassion for people who have different beliefs. There are people, close people in our lives, friends and family, who don't understand the whole gender non-conforming or non-binary thing, right? They don't get it. They're not into it. They're not going to use those pronouns. They're going to keep using she, her pronouns. That's them. You do you. You know what I mean? Like, I'll do me, you do you. I'm going to support Jade in letting people know that this is the pronouns I prefer now, but that's it. That's where my duty ends, right? My duty is with myself and how I want to express myself in my relationship with my kid. I'm not going to try and control other people's way of expressing themselves in their relationship with my kid. And in the meantime, Jade and I have these chats about having compassion for people who are in different places and have different beliefs. And it really helps Jade to understand that about people. It's part of my passing on this value of openness to Jade. And the cool thing is, Jade gets it. I think they see me being chill about it. Kenny being chill about it. He's the same way. He's like, okay, whatever you want to be called, sure. And that's it. At the end of the day, I really believe that everybody is doing the best that they can with the upbringing that they've had and the tools that they've collected along the way. And we're all just trying to do our best. And so having some compassion for what you don't know about other people's lives is, I just believe that's a good way to live. One thing that I formally learned about active listening through the coaching training that I've done and through the Coactive coaching book, which is amazing to just read as a human being, whether you want to be a coach or not, is that there are 3 levels of listening. The first level of listening is the equivalent in photography. I'm going to use photography analogies, is like a selfie, right? So it's like you're listening to what the person is saying, but really you're preparing your own response, or you're thinking about how this relates to you, or you're being self-conscious about how you're coming across in the conversation. You are self-focused while you're listening to what they're saying. That's the first level. You want to avoid that level of listening at all costs. And I've come a long way in that, right? Mostly with the self-consciousness piece. The second level of listening is like a portrait photo, like portrait mode, where you are focused on the other person and you're just zoned in, you're leaned in with your body, you're there, present, really listening and absorbing what they're saying and what they're not saying and how they're saying it, their tone, their body language. You are there. And that is a great level of listening to be at. So is the third level of listening. So 1, avoid. 2 and 3, really great. Third level of listening is like a panoramic photo. You're fully focused on the other person and the context of their life and what they're saying in the context of what you know about that person. You're trying to fill in that full context. And that's one way of practicing that open-heartedness and the compassion and empathy with other people. I just read True Love by Thich Nhat Hanh. It was amazing. You can read it in like an hour or two. It's just packed full of goodness. And basically, to me, the point of it is that you give love, you show true love by being very present. Giving your full presence to a person, your loving, compassionate presence, and really listening and being there for them is how you show true love. And that's what I try to be in the world. So that transcends politics, that transcends beliefs, that transcends all differences, right? When you try and connect from the heart like that, that's what people need. That's what I think the world needs more of. That's what I need more of. So that's what I try to embody in all of my interactions with people to the best of my ability. Am I perfect at it? No, heck no. I am not perfect at it, but I really strive for that more and more. And I think I used to be self-conscious about that. I would almost like, oh, I need to act more normal, right? But not anymore. It's like, no, I can just be love and joy to the best extent that I can. And when I'm not feeling that way, I can be sadness. I can be frustration. I can be anger, right? I can just be who I am, and I can show up however I am and be authentic about that. And that gives other people permission to do the same. And that, when we are all working to do that, to show true love to each other and to ourselves, and to show up as our authentic selves, vulnerably, and to connect, deeply connect, that is how you solve all the problems. It starts with doing the work. It starts with going to therapy. It starts with looking inside and being like, okay, all right, what are my blind spots? What are my blind spots? I'm ready to see them, right? And then whatever comes to you, go work on that. It's not easy. Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard because your blind spots are the things that you don't even know you need to work on. And then life shows them to you and you're like, all right, okay, all right. You got to go face this. I got to go work on this. I got to go put in the work. And sometimes you're like, I don't even know how to work on this. How do I work on this? I don't know. And so then you ask for clarity. Clarity, please. How do I work on this? And then the answers just start to come. You can show up more fully as yourself and for yourself so that you can show up more fully for the people that you love. And maybe even the people you don't know. Maybe those could be people you love too. I'm just saying. Just needed to get that off my chest. I've been doing the work on being more grounded in who I am and more secure in that. I never would have made a video like this even a few months ago, honestly. I've really been doing the work. And now I feel so secure in who I am that I feel okay about sharing that online. Like, this is not for anyone. This is not for anyone. I'm not trying, honestly, like, it's not for subscribers or whatever. This is me doing the work. This is self-expression. This is me being brave and me flexing the muscles that I need to flex to show the world who I am. It's me practicing that. It's me practicing showing up authentically and vulnerably. And if people watch it, they watch it. But honestly, I don't really care. I always say the subscribe thing because you're supposed to say it. Like, subscribe and click the bell if you want to be notified every time I release a new video. Well, honestly, I'm going to do this even if I don't gain any more subscribers. I might lose subscribers from this. I don't care. It's fun. I like it. I enjoy it. And I'm proud of myself for doing this. I feel like I can really say, you be truly you. I will be truly me. And I'll see you in the next video, perhaps.